activists, firing Voice of America staff, and shutting down a consumer protection agency. Here's what Attorney General Pam Bondi said less than 48 hours ago about some previous rulings.
Many judges need to be removed, Judge Howell included, Judge Reyes, Judge Boasberg. These judges obviously cannot be impartial. They cannot be objective. They think they have authority, but it's going to be short-lived because these cases are going to get to the Supreme Court very fast.
Joining me, Lisa Rubin, Msnbc analyst. Can I ask you, when she says these judges need to be removed, obviously they can't be impartial, how do you read what she's saying? These are judges whose job it is to interpret the law, but using the law to do so.
And Alex, these judges also have lifetime tenure. All of the judges that she was speaking about are Article 3 judges who have been nominated by a president, confirmed by a Senate, and have lifetime tenure. When Attorney General Bondi is talking about removing them, I take her to mean one of two things. One, that they should be recused or removed from the cases that they are overseeing. And in one case already, they have asked Judge Howell of the D.C. District Court to remove herself from one of the law firm cases. And in a very sharply worded opinion, she refused to do so, saying that the legal filings by the Department of Justice read more like a press release from the White House. The other possibility, though, that Pam Bondi is raising is the one of impeachment. There are already impeachment resolutions introduced in the House with respect to 4 judges who have run afoul of this administration, and I expect that there will be more. Judge Reyes, who is one of the judges she was referring to, is someone who's rendered a preliminary injunction with respect to the executive order on transgender people in the military. She's not one of the judges against whom, for example, there is yet a pending impeachment resolution. But based on that comment, I expect now there's incentive for someone to introduce one.
But Pam Bondi, is she not hearing what the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts said, that impeachment is not a venue for this kind of activity, this kind of behavior? It's not done?
I don't think that Pam Bondi much cares. In some respects, nobody expects any of these judges to be impeached because, as you know, and Elon Musk learned when he posted something on X that was different than what I'm about to say, in addition to passing an impeachment resolution in the House, then you have to have 2/3 of the United States Senate convict. And given the balance of power in the Senate thus far, I don't expect that any sitting U.S. judge could be impeached right now on the facts before us. But Pam Bondi isn't really trying to win votes in the Senate. She's trying to win votes and respect and support from the American populace. This is a MAGA talking point, not something that she's trying to win in the legal realm.
So the courts are signaling, Lisa,